Hi there. Today I'm going to show you how to make this. It's a sanding jig for a disc sander. I use it all the time to make segments for segmented wood turning. I will show you how to make the jig and how to do the segments. Before you do that though, there are two things you need to make sure of on the disc sander itself. Number one, the bed must be square to the disc. If it's not square, your segments just aren't going to glue up well at all. Second thing, you need to make sure that this slot is parallel to the disc. Now my disc sander is already set up properly and I really don't want to change it, so I'm going to demonstrate without changing any settings. One of the things you want to do when you first set up your disc sander is do it without sandpaper. Doing it with just the bare disc will give you much better, more accurate results. On each end, under here, on this model, is a handle you can loosen, and then you can adjust up and down until you get it to the 90 degrees you want. The other thing you want to do is the slot, make sure it's parallel. To do that, I've just put a piece of masking tape with a dot. On your bare disc, you can put a dot like this, extend your calipers out until they touch that dot, and then move this out until you get a reading from the slot to there. Then you want to turn this till you get the dot on the other side. Put your calipers on there and get your reading here. You want to get those to match exactly. To do that, you can loosen the two screws on this side and the two screws on this side, and then you can adjust it back and forth. Don't loosen them too much, just till they're a little bit snug, and that way you can move them without too easily bumping it out of position. Keep adjusting and readjusting, tightening and retightening until you get it perfect, and then snug them up as tight as you can. I'm ripping and cross-cutting two pieces of 1/2-inch MDF to use for the sled. Now I apply contact cement to the two pieces of MDF, and then I'll wait for 45 minutes for it to become tacky. With the glue ready, I press the two boards together. Now I apply contact cement to one of the pieces of Formica that will face the two sides of the sled. I have to put Formica on both sides to keep the sled balanced so it won't warp. After waiting for the contact cement to cure again, I can attach the Formica to the MDF. Now I rip the sled to size to have smooth edges for the next gluing. Then I will apply contact cement to the other side of the MDF and the second piece of Formica so that they can be bonded together. It's not unusual to walk by this thing and bump myself on the corners. To make that a little less painful, I've taken a 1-inch washer, used that to mark the corners, and I'm going to round them off on the disc sander now. Now I need to make a runner to ride in the slot on the bed here. I'm using UHMW, ultra high molecular weight plastic. It's great for all kinds of jigs for woodworkers. I'm going to cut that to size. The thickness is already just a little bit thinner than the depth of the slot, which is what I want. I don't want it touching the bottom, and I want it just riding snugly in the slot on the sides. So I'll cut that on the table saw now. I'm using a micro adjuster you can see at the top of the picture. It allows me to make very fine adjustments, as little as 1/1000th of an inch if necessary. I'm drilling and countersinking one side of the runner. I put one hole on each end and another near the center. I don't attempt to put it in the exact center, as I want to be able to tell which end goes which way. I'm running a screw into the holes and letting it spin to strip out the plastic a bit. I don't want the screw to be tight in the plastic, only in the wood. I'm placing 3 thin washers in the slot to raise the runner just proud of the surface of the table. I don't know if you can see it, but I have a small piece of double-sided tape on each end and in the middle of the runner. You might notice that I did in fact have to remove the sandpaper from the disc. I realized that I would have to remove it to make sure I get a zero clearance sled. Now I'm screwing the runner to the bottom of the sled. I make very sure I haven't changed the runner end for end. I screw the middle screw in and then return it to the slot to make sure it hasn't shifted. Then I put the end screws in. When the runner is replaced in the slot, it should move smoothly with the sled against the disc. Now I'll take the sled off and remove the runner again so I can file smooth the bulges that have been formed on the Formica by tightening the screws. I'm countersinking the second side of the runner so that if any more Formica bulges, it will bulge into the countersinks and not cause the runner to lift. Notice that I marked an X on the end of the runner and the sled. If you prefer to put the middle screw hole in the exact center of your runner, this will help keep you from reversing the runner. It also lets me remember which side of the runner is the bottom. Now when I reattach the runner, I can use the holes that have already been used and know that the runner will run true. I'm cutting a small rabbet on the bottom of the fence as a dust relief. I don't want any dust to gather against the side of the fence, as this could cause the adjuster to run untrue. Notice that I'm using Baltic birch for the fence. If I used hardwood, I would run the risk of it moving with condensation and temperature changes. Baltic birch is very stable and should help avoid that problem. I'm drilling and countersinking the fence on both sides for the same reason I did it to the runner. I only use one screw on each end. I attach the fence to the sled, being sure to hold it tightly against the disc and flush to the end of the sled. I put one screw in the end closest to the disc, but only clamp the other end to the sled so that I can adjust it. To attach sandpaper to the disc sander, I slice the backing paper about 2/3 and peel the paper off the larger section. This lets me slide the sandpaper down along the disc without it sticking to it prematurely. It's important to very carefully center the sandpaper on the disc before pushing it on. You don't get a second chance with this. Then just push it into place and turn the disc until the backing paper is available and peel it away. I use a J roller to press it to the disc. Do this very thoroughly to make sure it's attached completely. With the sander running, slide the sled in slowly from the end. This will let the sandpaper cut the sled as it passes, giving you a zero clearance table. A little hint, don't forget to open the blast gate for your dust collector as I did. Makes a real mess. Now it's time to adjust the fence to be square to the disc. To do that, I'm going to use this wood. I'm going to mark each side. I'm going to designate this one A and this one B. A is always going to ride against the fence. I put pencil marks on both ends so that when I run it against the disc sander, once that's disappeared, I'll know it's sanded all the way across. Flip it over and do the other end. Then what I will do is I will measure the length of side B and the length of side A and see what difference there is, and then adjust from there. Now I'm going to measure the lengths of the two sides of the board. Side A is 5.3480. I'll mark that down so I don't forget. Side B, 5.3370. So I'm out 0.0110 inches. Now I know that I'm out 11 thousandths of an inch. A being longer, I need to move this end of the fence in that direction. To do that, I'm just going to give a good little wrap here, and I'll do another test and see how close we are this time. Now I have side A at 5.3100. Side B is 5.3130. Now I know a lot of guys would say that's close enough, but I'm going to take a little more time here. I'm going to adjust this until I get it perfect, and then I'll be back. Now I've got the fence adjusted to where I'm satisfied. It's out less than a thousandth of an inch. And what I want to do is screw it down tightly now. And I'll do one more test to make sure it's still all right. Comes out to 5.2000 on B and 5.2000 on A. I'm happy. Well, that's the end of part one. I hope to do this all in one sitting, but it's just a little too long. I wouldn't want to listen to me for 40 minutes either. So I hope you'll tune in to part two, see the rest of it. In the meantime, take a break, go do some woodworking. Thanks for watching.